Royal Rumble for the SNES came out in 1993, featuring Hulk Hogan, which is really interesting because Hulk Hogan really wasn't doing very much with the WWE, WWF at the time back in 1993, but you obviously had Lex Luger, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and a whole plethora of characters that we're going to look at momentarily. I never got the opportunity to play Royal Rumble or many of the other SNES games, given the fact that we didn't have an SNES, as we call it here. But through the modern power of emulators and online cool stuff, I have had the experience of playing about it, and we're going to talk about that in today's show. So let's jump straight to it. Let's take a look at the Royal Rumble for the SNES. Our dear old friends, LJN. We're capturing the Royal Rumble theme here for sure. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Crush. You know, it's all your 93 into 94 sort of characters that you can expect. For the time, I have to say, there's a really good amount of variety of gameplay with your singles, your brawl, your tournament, obviously the Royal Rumble as well. And here we're going to go through the characters, and they actually have the entrance music as well, so you can relive nostalgia if you like, just for a moment. Okay, enough of that. Let's leap into the gameplay. If you want to go back and watch the music and stuff, there's plenty of other videos on YouTube. As you can see here, 16-bit, so many more ideas, so much more development, and they have done an alright job. It's still not up there as far as I'm concerned with WrestleMania Challenge, but you can clearly see here who characters are going to be. You can see Shawn Michaels and Crush, and Ted DiBiase, and Randy Savage, and Mr. Perfect, and Tatanka. All, you know, in this, you know, great, highly digitized set. And I think for the first time of seeing this, I think the phenomenal gameplay. Talking of the gameplay, actually, let's touch on that for a second, because one thing that we have heard over and over and over again, and as someone who's played it, is bigger doesn't always mean better. And what I mean by that is, like anything, you got to know how to use it. And unfortunately, SNES, when they were putting all this stuff together, they actually made the game so complicated. It was up there with, maybe not with Warzone and Attitude, but certainly they made it far more complicated than it once had been. Gone with the sort of two buttons and left, right, up, and down. Here you had a variety of button combinations, but you don't really have, you know, you know, you're not going to see the Undertaker's tombstone, for example, or as far as I'm aware, the sharpshooter or the perfect plex. I think you can later on get the bonsai drop in a variety of the LJN SNES games, but from my memory, you know, a lot of it is just the same. It's a lot of the grunts and groans. There's no commentary here, of course, which wouldn't come around until WrestleMania, the arcade game. But for a game of its time, it looks nice. It performs well. It's clean. You know, it is very, very clean. Could they've done something more with it? Possibly, but from a nostalgia point of view, it's fine. Going back to the gameplay aspect, it's going to feel very, very samey as time goes on, because essentially everybody just really has the same move over and over again. See, Yokozuna, I don't ever recall Yokozuna, as great and a big guy as he was, ever doing a running dropkick. It certainly never crossed my mind. And of course, Mr. Perfect, that I recall, never slammed Yokozuna. I think it was Lex Luger that hip-locked him, and Ahmed Johnson, the less said about him, the better. But you're going to tie up a lot. You're going to grapple here a lot. You're going to, atomic drop again. 641 pounds, you know, you're not going to do that to Yokozuna. So there was a lot of things here that were humorous. But for its time, I think we need to give it some grace, and I think we need to give it some credit, because this, for I believe was the first game for. No, in fact, this would have been the third iteration for the SNES after Super WrestleMania. I think they did a great job. I think they did a great job on the whole. The trouble with these games for the SNES was a lot of them would feel very similar. So Super WrestleMania, Raw, Royal Rumble, a lot of them started to feel very, very samey, and that's probably because they were, but with updated characters. There was a few glitches here. You can see there in the background, I believe Gorilla Monsoon, or probably Jim Ross at this point, 1993, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Even looks like Mean Gene Okerlund. But it was something. It was something for sure. And if you're looking for nostalgia, it's you're gonna get it. There you go. So he threw Mr. Or Yokozuna, Mr. Yokozuna, out the ring, and away you go. And in comes Howard Finkel, raises the hand of Mr. Perfect, and you'll have a big clap. And then you're onto the music afterwards. It's fine for what it is. It really is fine. If you've never played it before and you are interested in traditional wrestling games, and I think this is something you'll enjoy, but if you have played other wrestling games, there's a lot of other ones out there for sure to choose from. It's, when it comes down to it, from a gameplay point of view, it's all right. It's all right. It's not gonna, shake the world or change the world. But for that time, for the Sega Mega Drive, Royal Rumble did a good job. There was a lot of really cool stuff about it from the music point of view, as we looked at earlier on, from the character screens and the details that they have at the beginning. But when it actually came to gameplay, again, it was like, okay. And you're going to see a lot of that throughout this series. But hey, they tried. What are your thoughts? I know this episode was a little bit short, but that's really all I've got to say about Royal Rumble for the Sega Mega Drive in this case, and for the SNES. It is what it is at the end of the day. It was an alright game. Next time we are going to look at another one in the series, and it is going to be WWF Raw, which came out in 1994. And this one I'm actually holding out a little bit of more hope for, because its updated characters a little bit dark, a little bit more interesting. We move away from sort of that bright, colourful aspect that you see in the 80s and early part of the 90s, and we're heading into something a little bit darker, into sort of the new generation, which would obviously lead into the Attitude Era. So stay tuned for that, and let me know your thoughts on Royal Rumble for the SNES, for the Sega Mega Drive, and I'll catch you next time.